Brett, how are you?
Good. Thanks for having me, Kyle.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about your journey and how you got to LeGrand. Where after high school, after this East-West Shrine game, where did that take you?
Yeah. So right after that Shrine game, I went and enrolled at Brigham Young University in Provo, Utah. And anyway, went there to went to school, got a degree in teaching, wanted to be a coach and a teacher. My major was health. I minored in Spanish and ESL. And anyway, got the opportunity to go down to Houston, Texas to do my student teaching and then coach football and baseball down there, as well as teach. And I spent 5 years doing that. Then I got into school administration for a couple of years. And then being a Baker alum, Eastern Oregon aficionado, we'll say. My wife's from the Portland area. We wanted to get back closer to home. And so threw an application in about 3 years ago to LeGrand High School and was the assistant principal there for a couple of years. So, and then here we are. So,
nice.
Yeah, went down to Texas, got some of the Friday Night Light action, and then came back. So,
we actually have a LeGrand alum and EOU alum that coaches at a pretty big junior college down in Texas, Blinn. I mean, it's a pretty big name junior college, and
I worked right down the road in Waller, Texas from Blinn. So yeah, been to a lot of games at Blinn, been out to Brenham, Texas. That's where it's at, and played baseball and football against those guys. A lot of cool stuff out there. So.
Yeah, it's definitely a different football culture down there. So
no doubt.
Let's talk about that 05 East-West Shrine game. I mean, that's what we're here to talk about.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's talk about the process. How were you notified? Like what kind of season did you have leading up to that?
Had a good season. We had a really strong team. We were ranked, second, third in the state all year. At when the Oregon was in the 4A classification system, we were 3A, and I was fortunate to have a good group of guys around me. We had like 17 or 18 seniors that had played everything growing up, and then we started out. We were just hot, rolled through the season, beat pretty much everybody but Vail. Vail always gave us a run for their money, or our money, and lost to them. But then we rolled into the playoffs and ran into the juggernaut Wilsonville in the quarterfinals. But we, I had a really good season playing linebacker and offensive line. All the guys around me, we just had a really good year. And we were just kind of outmanned when we got up against Wilsonville. They, we're all playing Iron Man, 12, 13 guys never coming off the field. And they're running full squads in and out. And, came up short. But I personally, I got a lot of accolades, had a good year. And so, I did well in the classroom, stuff like that. So as far as getting notified, my coach just pulled me aside in the springtime there in 2005 and just, congratulated me, told me that I'd been selected and that we had a couple other guys that, were named alternates as well. And it was just a cool honor to represent our team. That had a lot of success and represent the guys.
Yeah. So everybody knows, was 05 the last year of the 4A, 3A, 2A?
It was close. It was actually, I think 2009 was the last year. The reason I know that is my little brother played, and him and his team, they went to the state championship and lost to Marist that year. And then in 2010, they turned around, he graduated, and that group won it, from Baker, and then they won it again in 2012. So Baker had a really strong run. We were in the semis and quarterfinals every year. They're from about 02 to about, 07. Had a couple of rough years in 07, 08 there. I had another brother played on those teams, but had a tough time getting over the hump there. My senior year, we lost to Wilsonville in 3 sports. Football, basketball, baseball, once in the state championship in basketball, quarters in football and quarters in baseball. And it was just, it was one of those things we were just a little bit outmatched. And it was nice to see when they switched it, gave it a little more even playing field.
Well, that was a similar boat for LeGrand back in the days when we were 4A and we were playing teams like, Jefferson in
Right.
basketball. It's
Like,
like,
what are we doing?
they got 2,500 kids. We have 650.
That's exactly it, man.
So nowadays, the East-West Shrine game is 4A and below, because we obviously have 5A and 6A, and they play the North-South. But that includes LeGrand now. So we have we have all the GOL teams, but we're still pulling from such a small area, and we have such small schools that anytime we pit the East side against the West side, I feel like there's some sort of advantage there for the West side.
And I haven't followed how it's broke down right now or with the new system, but when I was there, when I played, we had guys on the East from like Junction City, like Coos Bay, like Siuslaw. They were on the East side. So I think they've got it like kind of broke down, but trying to make it as even as they can, because if they went just Valley versus East side, it would be tough. And so there was a lot of guys from a lot of parts of the state.
I think they do it very similar to that now still. Yeah. Like they kind of just cut out like Salem and, and then everywhere else is the East.
Right. Yeah. That's pretty much how it seemed to be, Yeah, there's guys like from Bandon on my team, on the East. So anyway.
Which is weird.
Just like Southwest Oregon. Yeah. The small school. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the experience. Like what the week leading up, did you guys do the whole stay at Eastern for a week and practice?
Yeah. So they had us all, they send you like all this paperwork, and they ask you, what jersey number you want, all this information about yourself. And then they, send you a packet of info to meet at the Shriners Hospital. That was the first time we got together. And so we met in Portland. They checked us in, issued, jerseys, and, had you put that on before we went to the hospital. And then, so we went there. You could, have your family with you and stuff. And so, remember my mom came with me, and we, went there, and they had a bunch of activities for us with the kids there at the Shriners Hospital. We got to meet a lot of them and spent, several hours there interacting, playing games, eating lunch, just kind of getting that initial, like, this is why you're here experience, right? Like you're an 18-year-old kid thinking you're on in this like, game and whatever. And then they like take you right to the hospital, and you're like, whoa, like this is real different. Life. This is special, right? You got a bunch of 8-year-old dudes that are entering the prime of their life. And then you see all these kids that are much less fortunate than you are, and having a really tough battle. And it's very humbling. And it's exactly, I think, what the game needs, and like how you should start that week. It's like, this is why you do it. This is why we're here, and this is what the proceeds go for. So,
unfortunately, this year the players aren't going to get that experience because of COVID. Yeah. But at least we're having a game. I mean, and we're going to raise money for the Shriners.
Exactly, no doubt. And that's awesome. And that's what it's all about. It's all about those kids and those families that, are there, getting that. And so I imagine it'll get back to that, at some point, but baby steps, so.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're just going to get a game to people this year and raise some money for Shriners.
That's it.
And hopefully in the future, like you said, we'll get back to getting the kids into the hospital and because that's what it's all about. I mean,
for sure.
It's about, giving a kid a chance to be a captain, that's in Shriners, and it's about raising money. The auction's not happening this year. The auction that they do at halftime because of COVID, but this year will be just, the new stepping stone that's going to bring us to great things with this Shrine game. There's no doubt.
Yep. For sure. So from there, I mean, we were at the hospital, and then they, threw us on a bus, late in the afternoon. You had all your gear. We headed back across the state to LeGrand. We stopped and toured a couple of places, and it was cool. A lot of the guys hadn't been certain parts of the state, and so they would stop the bus and, look at the falls and, visit the reservation there in Pendleton and just kind of get that experience. And then we, pulled into EOU and stayed in the dorms for a week and it's like all these different guys trying to come together for also, I think all-star football games are just tough. Like it takes a lot of chemistry to play a football game. You got to have got to put in an offense and a defense and special teams in like 4 days
Yeah,
because
and you got coaches from all different teams trying
coaches
to
from
work
all
together.
over. I mean, it's like, and it's luckily, you know, most of the guys in this are pretty, you know, pretty good, and they're pretty smart on the, you know, on the field, and they can figure it out. Because it was, I remember the first couple of days, it's like, you know, you've got like basically 3 days, like Monday, you know, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, to get like, it's almost like 2 or 3 days. You're just out there practicing, trying to get some semblance of chemistry together. And then like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, there's a lot of like pomp and circumstance. There's like barbecues, there's auctions that you got to go over to Baker and do like some fair stuff. And you're, you know, you're raising money and doing all that while trying, you know, and the coaches, I remember doing a good job of not getting a super sore, because most of us are rolling out of like baseball or, you know, just like the summer, right? You know, some dudes are just coming off of working that summer, and so
playing
like
Legion ball, getting ready to play college
like you're just
athletics
rolling
somewhere.
in there, and you know that like first couple of days of football soreness. Well, it's like you could like just ruin the game if you come out there and you're just like, all right, full pads, like we're cracking, you know, clacking helmets here. And so they did a good job of, you know, working us in there. But it was, you know, like 3 practices a day. You know, we had morning, afternoon, evening session to just try to get some semblance of, you know, so you could put a good product on the field, you know, like, and you got a lot of guys play a lot of positions, just trying to get where everybody's going to go and what they're going to do.
Yeah, that this game is about recognizing not only the best football players, but they put a lot of emphasis on good people as well.
Yeah,
I mean, they aren't. It's not just your football numbers when you're selected for this game, and that's one of the important things to me.
Yeah. The guys that were there, were really impressive. They're really intelligent, good students, good guys. Like they weren't, you know, there wasn't any trouble in the dorms. There wasn't any, you know, buddy out running around doing all kinds of crazy stuff. I was impressed at just the, you know, the quality of people involved in the game, the coaches, you know, everybody was just, it's a high class, first class, you know, it's put on well. Right. And the coaches, you know, recommend, you know, players from their team that are going to go represent. So it's cool.
Do you remember who the coach was? The head coach?
I don't. It was such a blur. I remember I think he was from a 2A school. I can't remember where. I remember the opposing coach because I had to look at the Wilsonville head coach again. I remember that. I was like, come on, I can't get away from these guys. They beat us. West beat us that year. I mean, it was just like I couldn't do it. After the game, he shook my hand. He's like, all right, man, go tackle life. He's like, you don't have to see me anymore. I'm like, good, man, get this guy out of here.
Yeah. So, what was the final score of that game?
I think it was 21 or 24-9. We did not get in the end zone, but we had a really good field goal kicker from Grant Union, who was booting them in from all over the place. I almost had a defensive score. They ran a reverse, and it was like this, like we blitzed, and I got in the backfield, and the ball came out, and I picked it up, and they tackled me on like the 10, and we just couldn't punch it in. So, but yeah, it was like 20. I think it was 21-9 or 24-9. West beat us. They had some dudes, and they kind of had a different strategy too. Like we rotated quarterbacks. We were rotating all kinds of stuff, and they just went with one dude at quarterback. Scapoose's quarterback, and he was a stud. And
was it Derek Anderson?
No, he was probably like 3 or 4 years older than me. But his name was Tyler Morrill, and we played him a few times, and he was good. And they were there to win it for sure. And they strategically, you know, there's some strategy that goes into it, right? And you know, we went with hey, let's get everybody some showcase, get everybody some time, get everybody the ball, and have some fun, which was good.
So like if you were to look at this year, you know, like it's been a strange year, right? We look at COVID, we look at LeGrand is a perfect example. We only had 3 seniors on our football team this year. Last year, we had more than that were invited to play in this game.
Right. I mean, didn't we have 3 in the game and a couple alternates? I mean,
we had 4. We had 4 that were nominated for the game.
That's awesome.
We didn't even have that many seniors in LeGrand this year. It's just been one of those years where I don't want to take anything away from anyone for any reason at all, but like the all conference, the all state, all of that this year, like I've just been like kind of like, yeah, you know, like, okay, you're first team all state, but 7 of your teammates are too.
Right.
Because there was only 4 teams playing, or you know, whatever,
Yeah.
whatever it is.
That's been a big change that I've noticed. Like it was, you know, when it was the 4A system, like if you were, you know, first team all state, huge honor, right? Like and then it changed. And then like at Baker High, like, you know, like I was fortunate to get that nomination my senior year, first team all state linebacker. Great. Awesome. Like it was like phenomenal. And then like 5 years later, they had like 10 selections on their state championship team. Right. And it's like I don't know. I don't want to.
And then with COVID, it's been even crazier. I mean, our baseball team had 7 first team all conference players. When I played at LeGrand High School, if you made first team all conference, you were extreme. Yeah, it was a big deal.
Yeah.
And I don't want to take away anything from any of these kids. No. It's just it's different now.
Different time, different, and you know, everybody's piecing together seasons and trying to figure it out. And I am very glad I didn't have to deal with this as an athlete in high school. It would be a tough deal. A lot of kids put a lot into this. This is why, you know, a lot of them show up to school because of sports and stuff, and to have that all condensed into about a 3-month window and have 3 sports seasons right there jam packed together. That's a tough deal. Tough deal.
It's my son was a freshman this year, and they got done with football, right? Football went normal. You know, football was first, right? I believe.
Right. Yeah, it was.
And then they went straight into spring sports. And my son's a left-handed pitcher, and he, you know, and they wanted him to start pitching right off the bat, and I was like, "No, you tell your coach, you got to get your arm in shape, man." They were throwing a little bit during football season, but you can't go directly into just pitching in games in baseball.
Yeah,
it doesn't work.
Tough deal. Tough season. Glad the kids battled their butts off and, you know, represented well best they could. So
do you who's your athlete idol like growing up?
Man, I've really followed the 49ers. I had my grandparents down in California, and so got to go down to some camps, see Jerry Rice, Steve Young, Joe Montana, like those 3, you know, those were like the dudes, you know. I really like Steve Young, really like Jerry Rice. Those were my guys. So.
I'm a Chargers fan, so I can't like the 49ers. They beat us in our only Super Bowl.
That's all right.
It's all right though. So for you, do you have aspirations to coach like in LeGrand? Are you coaching now? Is there anything that you want to do in the future with
coaching
sports?
Yeah, you know, so I coached I coached varsity football and baseball down in Texas for 5 years. I'm a coach at heart. I love being in schools. I love being around kids and games and stuff. Got into school administration. I talked about that here. They're kind of like, no, focus on school, focus on that. It's going to occupy most of your time. This year, moving to elementary has been a blessing. I got to coach my kids this year. So did some t-ball, did some, peewee, soccer stuff. And so I'm hoping to spend time, coaching that, but I see myself coaching again some point. I really enjoy it. Got a lot of good experience with it, and just love the game. Parker McKinley's always trying to get me out there, so I need to go down, throw BP, and be around the game more. So
I like Parker. Parker's a good dude.
Good dude.
We have a really good baseball culture in this.
Oh, town. It's been like coming in, like moving in, because I mean it wasn't always like that, right? Like we would come over here and beat LeGrand like a drum, in football and baseball. Basketball, they'd just kill us in the early 2000s. And then, that's flip coming in here. Like, my first year moving back, I was like, man, we're good at football. We're good at baseball. Like, man, just seeing the coaches and the athletes that have come through, there's been a big culture shift here in LeGrand, and I'm excited to have, my kids be a part of it. So,
yeah, absolutely. It's a great thing. So we're super excited. The East-West Shrine game will be August 7th, and there'll be a parade. They're going to still have the parade. They're still going to do, most of the stuff. There won't be the halftime auction. There won't be the actual footage, the players at the hospital. Mm-hmm. But there's 23 kids on each team, so we're going to have a bunch of high school moving into college-age kids here for a week in LeGrand, and hopefully, I don't know a lot about how the East-West Shrine game operates yet, but hopefully we can get some of the alumni involved with these guys too and do some stuff while they're here.
That'd be awesome. Good stuff. Yeah, it's a amazing experience. However, whatever level they can put it on, it's a great opportunity to get another game. Get some more camaraderie with the guys before you go off to college, and then help an amazing cause and help some amazing kids. And so I'm pumped that LeGrand gets to broadcast it, and EOAlive, man, that's good stuff.
It's so awesome. He is played in the Shrine Game in 2005. The Oregon East-West Shrine Game. He's currently Island City Elementary Principal. He's Brett Smith. I appreciate you, Brett. Thanks for your time today.
Thanks, Dodzy. Appreciate it, man.